On a faraway planet called Veralia, where the sky was purple and the air smelled like fresh flowers, lived a young alien woman named Lyra. She was part of a proud and strong race known as the NeonAlienz. Lyra was brave and curious, but today she felt something strange in her heart. She did not know what it was yet. Lyra worked as a scout for her people. Her job was to explore the forests and mountains of Veralia. She was fast and smart, with sharp eyes and strong legs. She loved walking in the tall trees and listening to the sounds of the wild. But this day was different. Far away from her home, a spaceship landed quietly. It was small and shiny, with bright lights. From inside came a human named Jake. Jake was an explorer from Earth. He had traveled across many stars to reach Veralia. He was calm and kind, wearing a suit that helped him breathe the alien air. Jake stepped out carefully. His eyes were wide with wonder as he looked at the purple sky and the strange plants. He wanted to learn everything about this new world. But Jake did not know that his arrival would change Lyra's life forever. Lyra was on her usual path through the forest when she suddenly saw the bright lights of the spaceship. She stopped and watched from behind a big tree. Her heart beat fast. She had never seen a human before. Stories said humans were strange and sometimes dangerous, but she could not tell if Jake was friend or foe. Curious but cautious, Lyra stepped closer. The forest was silent except for the soft steps of her feet on the soft ground. Jake was looking around, taking pictures and making notes. He did not notice Lyra watching him. Suddenly, a strong wind blew through the trees. It carried a strange smell, something fresh, sweet, and new. Lyra breathed in deeply without thinking. The scent was from Jake human pheromones. These tiny chemical signals were invisible but very powerful. For humans, pheromones help to attract others, but for Lyra's species, they had a very different effect. Lyra felt a sudden heat inside her body. Her skin tingled, and her breathing became faster. She stepped back quickly, her eyes wide with surprise and fear. What is happening to me? She thought. She tried to calm down, but the strange feeling grew stronger. Jake, still unaware, continued his exploration. Lyra's heart was pounding. She wanted to run away, but her legs felt heavy and strange. Something was changing in her. As minutes passed, Lyra felt her senses sharpen. She could hear the tiniest sounds of the forest, the rustle of leaves, the soft footsteps of small animals. Her vision became clearer. She could see details she never noticed before. At the same time, she felt a deep longing inside her, a need she did not understand. It was like a fire burning quietly, growing stronger by the second. Lyra realized with shock that she was going into heat. Her species only went into heat once every few years, and it was always a private and controlled time. But this was sudden, and it was caused by the human pheromones she inhaled. Lyra's mind raced. What would happen if others found out? The heat made her vulnerable. She might lose control and put herself in danger. And what about Jake? Would he know what he had done? For a moment, Lyra wanted to shout and run far away. But something inside her stopped her. She felt a strange connection to Jake, even though she barely knew him. She watched as Jake moved deeper into the forest, curious and unaware of the power he held over her. Lyra took a deep breath and decided she needed answers. She would have to face the changes and find a way to control them. But first, she needed to understand the human and why his scent affected her so much. Suddenly, Jake stopped and turned. Their eyes met for the first time. Jake smiled softly, and Lyra felt her heart skip a beat. For a moment, the world seemed still. "Hello," Jake said in a gentle voice. "I'm Jake. I mean no harm." Lyra nodded, trying to keep her voice steady. "I am Lyra. You should not be here." Jake looked surprised. "I want to learn about your world. Maybe we can help each other." Lyra was unsure. Could she trust this human? And what about her changing body and feelings? She did not know if she could handle the heat, or the strange bond that was forming, but one thing was clear. Her life was about to change in ways she never imagined. As the sun set behind the purple mountains, Lyra and Jake stood together, two strangers from different worlds, connected by a strange and powerful force. The adventure had just begun. After the strange meeting in the purple forest, Lyra returned to her village with a heavy heart. She tried to act normal, but inside, her body was changing fast. The heat that had started after breathing in Jake's scent was growing stronger every hour. At first, it was small things. Her skin felt warm, almost glowing under the soft moonlight. Her muscles ached, but in a different way, like they were waking up to new power. She noticed her senses sharpening. 2. She could hear whispers from far away, see colors more brightly, and smell the faintest scents carried by the wind. Lyra tried to hide these changes from her people. In her village, the NeonAlienz had strict rules about the heat cycle. It was a private time meant only for mates of their choice. No outsider was allowed to know. If anyone discovered Lyra's sudden heat, it could bring shame or worse, danger. She avoided talking much. Her friends noticed she was different but didn't ask. Lyra didn't want to explain something she barely understood herself. Meanwhile, Jake stayed near the forest's edge. He wanted to learn more about the alien world and about Lyra. He had felt something special when he met her, something he couldn't explain. He was curious but careful. The universe was full of dangers, and he didn't want to scare her. One evening, while watching the stars, Jake noticed movement near the village. Shadows moved fast, and a strange group of alien warriors approached. They were tall and fierce-looking, wearing dark armor with glowing red eyes on their helmets. Jake's heart raced. Who were they? What did they want? Lyra, inside her hut, heard the loud steps outside. Her body tensed. The heat made her emotions sharp: fear, anger, confusion. She felt weak but also stronger at the same time. She knew those warriors were not friendly. Suddenly the door to her hut was knocked hard. Lyra's heart jumped. "Who is there?" she asked, trying to keep her voice calm. A deep voice answered, "We come for the one who smells of the human, the one whose body changes with the alien fire. She must be found." Lyra's breath stopped. The warriors knew about her, about the heat, about Jake. She quickly grabbed her cloak and slipped out the back door. The heat made her movements faster, sharper, but it also burned inside her like a secret flame she could not control. Outside, the warriors spread through the village. People ran and hid. Jake saw the danger and ran to help. He called out to Lyra, "Lyra, you're not alone." Lyra's eyes met Jake's. In that moment, she felt something calm her fiery body. His presence was like cool water on hot stones. But the danger was real and close. Together, they ran into the dark forest, hiding behind thick trees and rocks. Lyra's body was changing faster now. Her skin was glowing faintly, and her heartbeat was loud in her ears. Jake looked worried. "What's happening to you?" he asked softly. Lyra shook her head. "I don't know. The human scent made my body change. But now, I can feel the heat like a storm inside." Jake nodded slowly. "Maybe it's like a signal. Something your body uses to survive or protect itself." Lyra looked at him, hope and fear mixed in her eyes. "If I lose control, I could hurt myself or others. I don't want that." Jake placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "We'll figure it out. You're not alone." Suddenly, a loud noise came from the trees behind them. The warriors had found them. Lyra's heart raced, but this time, her body moved with new strength. She pushed Jake behind her and faced the enemy. Her eyes shone with fierce light. Her voice was steady but strong. "You will not take me." The warriors stopped, surprised by her power. Lyra felt the heat rising, but she focused on control. She could not let fear win. Jake watched in amazement. The alien woman he met only hours ago was becoming someone new, stronger and braver than he ever imagined. The warriors backed away, warning her with cold voices, "This is not over." Lyra and Jake stayed hidden in the forest that night, knowing the fight was just beginning. The heat inside Lyra was no longer a secret. It was a force that could protect or destroy. And somewhere deep inside, Lyra knew she had to learn its true power before it was too late. Days passed since Lyra first felt the strange fire inside her. The heat was no longer a small secret. It had become a fierce storm raging through her body. Her skin glowed softly at night, and her eyes sometimes flashed like lightning. It was unlike anything her people had ever seen. They whispered nervously, afraid and curious. Lyra's friends avoided her, unsure if she was still the same person. Her mother warned her, "The heat can be dangerous. You must control it, or it will control you." But Lyra wasn't sure how to control something she barely understood. Meanwhile, Jake stayed close. He watched her carefully, worried about what the heat might do next. "Lyra," he said one evening, "you don't have to face this alone. Maybe we can find help." Lyra shook her head. "No one can help me. If my people learn about this, they may send me away or worse." Just then, the ground trembled beneath their feet. A deep roar echoed through the valley. The enemy warriors were back, and this time, they were stronger and more organized. Lyra's heart pounded. Her body wanted to run, but her mind was sharp and clear. The heat was making her senses sharper, yes, but also giving her strength beyond her own belief. Suddenly, one of the warriors appeared in front of them, blocking their path. His armor was blacker than night, and his eyes glowed red like burning coals. "You cannot hide from the laws of Veralia," he said coldly. "Your heat brings shame. You must come with us." Lyra stood tall. Her body felt heavy but powerful. She clenched her fists, and sparks of light danced around her fingertips. Jake stepped beside her, ready to fight if needed. But then, something unexpected happened. Lyra's heat flared up like a volcano. Her body grew stronger, and she moved with incredible speed. She dodged the warrior's strike and countered with a fierce energy blast that threw him back. The other warriors hesitated, fear in their eyes. They had never seen such power from a Verelian before. Lyra's heat was no longer a weakness, it was her greatest weapon. As the warriors retreated, Jake looked at Lyra in awe. "You're amazing, but what is this heat? Why does it make you so powerful?" Lyra looked down at her glowing hands. "It is part of my nature, but this time it is different, the human scent. It changed me." She touched Jake's arm. Gently, "Your presence made my body stronger and wilder." "I don't know if this is a curse or a gift." Jake smiled softly. "Maybe it's both. Sometimes the greatest power comes from the most unexpected places." But the danger was far from over. That night, as Lyra tried to sleep, the heat burned inside her like a wildfire. Her dreams were filled with strange visions, images of her people's past, battles fought long ago, and a hidden secret buried deep beneath Verelia's mountains. She woke up gasping. The heat was not just a physical change, it was a key to something bigger, something she had to discover. The next morning, Lyra told Jake about the visions. "I think the heat is connected to my people's history. Maybe it is the reason why the enemy wants me." Jake nodded. "Then we must find out what it means before it's too late." Together, they prepared to search for the truth. But first, Lyra had to control the heat and fast. The heat was not just changing her body, it was changing her destiny. The days grew darker for Lyra and Jake. The heat inside Lyra was no longer just a private struggle, it had become a visible force. Her glowing skin and fierce eyes drew the attention of many, some curious, others fearful. Lyra's people watched her with mixed feelings. Some whispered that she had been cursed, others believed she had been chosen by the ancient powers of Veralia. But one thing was clear, no human had ever been allowed so close And no human could share the bond Lyra and Jake now had. The laws of their world were strict. Humans and Varelians were not meant to touch or be close. Their histories were full of wars and broken trust. But for Lyra, the heat had broken many rules, and her heart felt a growing pull toward Jake. One evening, as the twin moons rose high, Lyra sat near a quiet stream. The cool water soothed her burning skin. Jake joined her silently, sitting close, but careful not to cross the invisible line between their worlds. Lyra looked at him, eyes full of questions. "Why do you stay?" "You know my people don't want you here." Jake smiled gently. "Because I see you, not your heat. I see the real you, and I want to help you." Lyra felt a warmth that was not from the heat inside her. She reached out slowly, trembling. Her hand hovered near Jake's arm, unsure if she dared touch him. For centuries, touching the human was forbidden for her people. It was a secret rule. Passed down through generations, any contact could bring shame, anger, or worse punishment. But the heat inside Lyra begged for connection. It whispered that she needed more than just help, she needed trust, comfort, and understanding. Her hand finally brushed Jake's arm. The moment their skin met, a powerful wave of energy surged between them. Lyra gasped as the heat inside her flared brighter, but this time it felt different, controlled, calmer. Jake's eyes widened. He felt the strange force too, like an invisible bond tying their souls together. "Lyra," Jake whispered. This is something I never expected." They both sat in silence, feeling the new connection deepen. The forbidden's touch had unlocked a part of Lyra's heat that no one had ever seen before, but the moment was fragile. Unbeknownst to them, dark eyes watched from the shadows. A figure from Lyra's village had followed her, seeing the forbidden's act. The watcher's heart filled with anger and fear. The next day, the village council gathered. The elders spoke in low, harsh voices. "Lyra has broken the sacred laws." One elder said, "A human's touch during heat is a crime. She must be punished." Lyra's mother looked at her sadly, but with worry. "You have risked everything, my daughter. The heat is no longer just your secret. It is a threat to us all." Jake stood beside Lyra, ready to defend her. "She didn't choose this alone. It was because of me." The council was not moved. "You must leave the village," the chief declared, "or face exile forever." Lyra felt her world shatter. The heat inside her now felt like chains, binding her fate. But Jake held her hand firmly. "We will face this together. There is more to your heat than they understand, and I believe we can prove it." As they prepared to leave the only home Lyra had ever known, a storm began to rise. Not just in the sky, but in the hearts of all who watched. The forbidden's touch had changed everything. And the real test was just beginning. The night was thick with fog as Lyra and Jake fled from the village. The council's words burned in Lyra's mind. Exile or worse, but she wasn't ready to give up. Not now. The heat inside her was a wildfire, sometimes making her stronger, sometimes making her dizzy and weak. She leaned on Jake for support as they ran through the dark forest, branches scraping their faces and clothes. Behind them, the enemy warriors were not far. The council had sent their fiercest hunters to bring Lyra back dead or alive. Their heavy footsteps echoed through the trees, sharp and relentless. "Faster," Jake urged, gripping her arm tightly. "They're catching up." Lyra's breath came fast, but her legs moved with surprising speed. The heat gave her bursts of power, but it also clouded her mind at times. She struggled to stay focused. Suddenly, a shadow leapt from the trees ahead, a warrior blocking their path. His eyes shone red in the fog, and his weapon glowed cold blue. Jake stepped forward, ready to fight, but Lyra held him back. "No," she said, her voice steady but fierce. "This is my fight." The warrior charged. Lyra felt the heat swirl inside her like a storm. Her body moved on its own faster than thought, stronger than before. She dodged the strike and grabbed the warrior's arm, twisting it with a force that made him drop his weapon. The others heard the fight and closed in. Lyra and Jake turned and ran again, deeper into the forest. After what felt like hours, they found shelter in a hidden cave. The entrance was narrow and covered with thick vines. Inside, the cave was cool and dark. Lyra sank to the ground, her body trembling from the chase and the heat. Jake sat beside her, offering water. "We can't keep running forever," he said. Quietly, "We need help." Lyra nodded, wiping sweat from her brow. "I know, but who will help an alien in heat? Especially one hunted by her own people?" Their thoughts were interrupted by soft footsteps. A figure stepped into the dim light, a tall alien with calm eyes and silver hair. "I have been watching you," the stranger said. "I know about your heat, and I can help." Lyra looked up, hope mixing with doubt. "Who are you?" "My name is Kalen," he replied. "I am part of a hidden group who understand the old powers of Veralia. We know how to control the heat." Jake and Lyra exchanged looks. Could this stranger be their chance? Kalen smiled gently. "But you must trust me. The journey to control your heat will be hard and dangerous." Lyra felt the heat flare inside her again. The fire was growing, and so was her fear. "Can I trust you?" she asked. Kalen nodded. "I will not let you face this alone." Outside, the forest was quiet, but the enemy hunters were still close. The chase was far from over. Lyra knew one thing for sure: her life was no longer her own. The heat, the humans, the hunters, all were part of a larger story she had yet to understand, and she had to be ready for whatever came next. Asterisk. The cave was quiet except for the soft drip of water from the rocks. Lyra sat on a stone, her glowing skin dimmer than before, but still warm to the touch. Jake stood nearby, watching her carefully. Kalen, the stranger with silver hair, prepared strange herbs and tools with calm hands. "This cure is not simple," Kalen said softly. "It can stop the heat, but it might change you in ways you don't expect." Lyra looked up, her eyes full of doubt and hope. "I want to be free from this burning inside. But what if the cure takes away who I am?" Jake, "Step closer. No matter what happens, you won't be alone. We will face it together." Kalen began mixing a glowing liquid in a small bowl. The light pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. "This medicine comes from the ancient plants of Veralia. It will calm your heat and heal the changes." Lyra took a deep breath. The heat inside her felt like a wild fire, sometimes warm and comforting, sometimes dangerous and painful. She wondered if stopping it would be like losing a part of herself. With a steady hand, she drank the glowing liquid. At first, nothing happened. But then a wave of warmth spread through her body, growing stronger and stronger until she gasped. Her skin stopped glowing. The fire inside her began to cool. For a moment, Lyra felt relief. The burning pain eased and her mind cleared, but then a strange feeling crept in, a cold emptiness where the fire once was. She looked at Jake. "I don't feel like myself." Jake took her hand gently. "Maybe you're changing, but you're still you." Suddenly, the cave door burst open. The enemy hunters had found them. Their red eyes shone with anger and hate. "You cannot escape," their leader shouted. "The heat must be controlled by the law." Lyra stood up, her body calm but her heart pounding. Kellen whispered, "Remember, the cure is also a power. Use it wisely." As the hunters attacked, Lyra felt a new strength inside her. The fire was gone, but something else had taken its place. Steady, calm power that made her faster and stronger. She fought alongside Jake and Kalen, moving with grace and skill. The hunters were surprised by her new power. One by one, they fell back. When the fight ended, Lyra stood tall, breathing hard but victorious. Jake smiled. "You did it." Lyra looked at her hands. No glow, no heat. "Is this freedom?" Or a curse? She wondered aloud. Kalen smiled softly. Only time will tell. Outside the cave, the stars shone bright. Lyra knew her journey was far from over. The heat had shaped her, but now she must learn what the calm power meant and how it would change her destiny. The sun rose slowly over the purple mountains, painting the sky with soft gold and pink. Lyra stood at the edge of a cliff, looking out over her world, a world that had changed forever, just like her. The heat inside her was gone, replaced by a calm power that pulsed gently in her veins. She no longer feared the fire that once burned so fiercely. Instead, she felt ready. Beside her stood Jake, strong and steady. Together they had faced danger, exile, and the unknown. But the greatest challenge was still ahead. Word had spread through the villages, the alien with the human bond, the one who survived the heat and the curse. Some called her a threat, others a hope. The village council summoned Lyra one last time. This time, not as an exile, but to decide her fate. Lyra walked into the great hall, her heart steady. The elders sat in their seats, eyes sharp and serious. "You have broken many laws," the chief said, voice cold but respectful. "But you have also shown strength and courage." Lyra nodded. "I did what I had to do, to survive and protect those I care about." Jake stepped forward. "She is not a threat. Together, we can build a future where humans and Varelians live in peace." Murmurs filled the hall. The old ways were hard to change, but something in Lyra's calm power inspired hope. The chief looked at Lyra. "Will you accept the challenge to lead us into a new era? To be a bridge between our worlds?" Lyra took a deep breath. She remembered the fire, the chase, the pain, and the love that had changed her. "I will," she said firmly, "for my people, for Jake, for the future." Outside, the sky was bright. The heat was no longer a curse, but a beginning. A new journey had started, one of trust, strength, and hope. And together, Lyra and Jake stepped forward, ready to face whatever the stars would bring.